Hi everyone, Mark at Service and Sync here. I'm going to show you how to add staff accounts. I know this form looks a bit big and overwhelming, but it's important to note that the only required fields here are first name and last name. The rest are optional. But of course, you should add as much as you have to make future steps easier, like adding an address and phone number and so forth. So I'll go through and show you how to add staff accounts with all the fields filled out. Start by entering the staff's email address. There's an option to send a verification email to ensure that this is an active and working email address and that the staff user can receive our emails. You can also edit or adjust the email verification template that gets sent to the staff to verify their email by clicking the Edit Email Verification Template button. This button will open a new tab or window with the email template there so you can adjust it as you see fit. To learn more about how to do that, you can view the documentation or watch the video on the email template page. Just a quick note here, the platform can only send emails after you've set up your email server settings. This would be email account settings your business uses for its email. If you haven't set this up yet, it's important you do so or no outbound emails will be sent. You can do this in the Settings Email Server section of the platform, and there's an instructional video there to help guide you through the process as well. Let's go back to the Add Staff page we just had open to continue. Enter the first and last name of the staff and the staff's phone numbers. It is important that you enter a valid phone number if you plan on using the Click to Call feature, which allows staff to call customers through your business phone number. If the phone number can receive SMS or text messages, you can check the SMS-capable checkbox next to the phone number you are adding. On the next step, you enter the staff's address. If this is a staff user who will be going out to appointments, it is important you enter an address. After the address is entered, it is a good idea to validate the address to make sure it is correct. That way, if you decide to enable settings such as reimburse mileage driven from home to the office, you will be sure it is accurate mileage. You can validate the address by clicking the Validate Address button. This function will verify the address is valid and prompt you to use a suggested address if there is a recommendation. If the address cannot be validated, a map will pop up with a marker that you can place on the location where the physical address is. The Comments for Users section lets you enter comments specific to the staff, such as this staff likes extra work on Saturday or staff prefers to work overtime, things like that. It is important to note that staff who have permission to view other staff will also be able to see these comments. If you have payroll enabled, you will see pay structures options for this user. If you don't see payroll options after the Comments for Users section and want to set a pay structure for this user, you will need to enable payroll. You can do this in the Settings Payroll section of the main sidebar menu. There is a help video and documentation there to guide you through that process. There are 3 payroll options: salary, hourly, and commission. Salary will pay the user proportionately throughout the pay period regardless of hours worked. Enter how much they get paid per pay period in the input field. Hourly will pay the staff user only for time they've checked into the office and out of the office. They can check in and out each day on the View Schedule page. Enter their hourly pay rate in the input field. Commission will pay the user a percentage of the invoice sales totals they worked on. Enter their commission percentage in the input field. You can check multiple payroll options or none, depending on each individual user's payment. Multiple checkboxes would mean their pay is compounded, so if they get paid salary and commission, you would check both of those boxes. The Allow this user to log in to system checkbox, if unchecked, will not allow the staff to log into the web portal. If Allow this user to log into the system checkbox is checked, this staff will be able to log into the web portal. This will allow them to access various business operational sections depending on their permissions. This includes requesting time off, viewing their payroll reports, pay advance requests, checking into appointments on the schedule, and many other things. The Send Welcome Email to User checkbox will only be available for staff who are allowed to log in. Having this checked sends them a welcome email with their login credentials. You can also edit or adjust the welcome email template that gets sent to the staff by clicking the Edit Welcome Email Template button. This button will open a new tab or window with the email template there so you can adjust it as you see fit. Again, to learn more about how to edit email templates, you can view the documentation or watch the video on the email template page. And don't forget, if you haven't set up your email server settings as mentioned before, the system will not be able to send any outbound emails. Again, you can set those up in the Settings Email Server section of the platform. If the staff is allowed to log into the platform, you should select the username and initial password for their logon credentials. The Force User to Pick a New Password on First Login option, if enabled, will require the staff to, upon initial login, to pick a new password. I highly recommend you check this box for security reasons, so their login credentials can be secured right away to prevent any unauthorized access. You can select what permissions the staff account has by expanding the Advanced Permissions box. To expand it, click the plus sign on the right side of the box. Permission groups can be set up to allow for a quick way to define the same permissions for multiple users, and also a quick way to change permissions for multiple users. You can learn more about creating and managing permission groups in the Staff Permission Groups section of the main sidebar menu. There is a help video and documentation there to guide you through that process. If you have already set up a permission group previously, you can choose that from the list in the permission group field. If not, just leave it as none. For each individual permission, you can mouse over the help question mark just to the right of the permission label to find a detailed description of what it does. Once you've selected the appropriate permissions group or set individual permissions for the staff user, click the blue Submit button to complete adding the staff user account. You should now see this new staff in the View Staff section of the page. You have now successfully added a staff user account to Service and Sync. If you need more help with these, feel free to open a live chat at the bottom right of the Service and Sync page, or simply give us a call at the phone number at the top right of the Service and Sync page, and we'll be glad to walk you through it and answer any questions you might have.